You just got $1 million sitting in your account right now. Be honest, how long do you think it lasts?
Most people say forever. The real answer for the average person is somewhere between 18 months and 3 years. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why, down to the dollar.
We're spending the next hour on this because it's not really a story about rich people losing money. It's about what happens the moment any of us gets handed more money than we're used to managing.
Right, this happens to lottery winners, it happens to people who sell a small business, it happens to someone who gets a big inheritance, an end-of-service payout, or a crypto win.
So today, exactly how $1 million disappears, why the timeline looks the same at every income level, the psychology behind why windfalls vanish faster than salaries, and then, because this channel doesn't leave you with just a scary story, exactly what to do differently.
Let's start with why the brain mismanages lump sums in the first place, because everything else in this video builds on that.
Okay, psychology first.
There's a concept in behavioral economics called mental accounting. Our brains don't treat all money the same. A dollar earned from 12 months of salary feels real and gets budgeted carefully. $1 million that shows up in one lump sum feels like house money, like casino winnings. You didn't grind for it in visible, incremental steps, so your brain doesn't protect it the same way.
That's why people who'd never blow a month's salary on a car upgrade will blow $80,000 from a windfall on one without blinking.
Exactly. Second concept, hedonic adaptation. The first purchase from a windfall feels amazing. The fifth one barely registers. So spending accelerates just to chase the same feeling, and nobody notices the acceleration because each individual purchase still feels reasonable.
And the third piece,
lifestyle creep with no ceiling. A salary has a ceiling. You can only spend what comes in each month. A lump sum has no monthly ceiling. There's no natural stopping point telling you that's enough for this month, so spending just continues until the pile visibly shrinks, and by the time it's visible, half of it's already gone.
So the pattern isn't about being reckless, it's that lump sums remove the guardrails that a monthly paycheck naturally has.
That's the whole video in one sentence. Now let's watch it happen in real numbers.
Someone gets $1 million, inheritance, business sale, a settlement, whatever the source. Walk me through year one, month by month.
Month one, the very first thing that happens for most recipients is a responsible purchase, a house down payment, or a full home renovation. In most metro areas, that's $150,000 to $250,000. Let's call it $200,000.
We're at 20% gone in month one, and it sounds responsible.
It is responsible in isolation. The problem is it happens without any plan for the remaining $800,000, so it becomes the first of many responsible, isolated decisions with no coordination between them.
What's next?
The car, or two cars, since it's common for a windfall to upgrade the whole household's vehicles at once. $60,000 to $100,000. Call it $80,000.
$280,000 gone.
Then debt payoff, student loans, credit cards, maybe helping a family member with their debt too. This one looks purely responsible, and it is, but it's still money leaving with no overall plan, another $100,000 to $150,000.
We're past $400,000 and still under a year in.
Then lifestyle upgrades. A nicer home in a better school district costs more than the house itself. Property taxes, higher utilities, a lawn service, an HOA. Private school tuition if there are kids, easily $20,000 to $40,000 a year per child. Vacations that used to be modest become "we deserve this now" trips. Over 18 to 24 months, another $200,000 to $250,000 disappears into recurring lifestyle costs, not one-time purchases.
So we're at roughly $650,000 to $700,000 spent, and it's barely 2 years in.
The remaining $300,000 to $350,000 usually sits in a checking or basic savings account until we figure out investing, earning close to nothing after taxes and inflation, while the person tells themselves they still have $350,000, which sounds like a lot until you realize it no longer changes their financial trajectory at all. It's just delayed spending money. And within another year or so, that's gone too. Almost always. Slower, quieter, but just as complete. And here's the number that should really land. In this whole breakdown, over 90% of the money went to things that felt individually reasonable. Almost none of it went to something anyone would call reckless.
Which is scarier than a dramatic story, honestly. There's no villain moment to avoid. It's just life, unmanaged.
This pattern is well documented well beyond any single example. Studies on lottery winners consistently find a large share go through most or all of their winnings within a few years, not because they're bad with money in general, but because a windfall breaks the normal spending guardrails we just talked about. The same research shows professional athletes on multi-million-dollar contracts filing for bankruptcy with years of retirement for the exact same structural reasons: high lump sums, no coordinated plan, and income that eventually stops.
So this isn't about any one country or culture. It's a human problem that shows up wherever a lump sum meets a brain that's used to monthly paychecks.
Let's zoom out for a minute, because $1 million isn't the only size this happens at. The exact same curve plays out at every tier, just with different zeros. Break it down for me. $100,000, gone in 6 months to a year, usually into debt payoff plus one big purchase. There's no time for real lifestyle creep because the number is small. It's usually 1 or 2 decisions that empty it.
And at $500,000,
12 to 18 months, house-related spending plus lifestyle upgrades, the hybrid pattern.
we covered 1 million. What about 5 million?
Interesting, at 5 million, the timeline actually gets longer, not shorter, because the number feels too big to spend carelessly. But the ending is often the same, just delayed to 5+ years, because now real estate and investments, often unplanned ones, like a friend's business idea, absorb it slowly instead of quickly.
So the size of the number doesn't protect you, it just changes how long the leak takes.
That's the core insight of this entire video. People assume I'd be different with more money. The data says no. More money just means a longer runway before the exact same crash landing.
Okay, we've spent half this video on the problem. Let's spend the rest on the actual fix, because just don't spend it clearly isn't a realistic advice. We've just proven that.
The fix isn't willpower, it's sequencing, deciding where the money goes before it ever touches your everyday account, while your judgment is still clear and the number still feels unreal, rather than like casual spending money. Walk me through the actual framework. Step 1, the 72-hour freeze. The moment a lump sum lands, no purchases, no quick decisions to lock things in, nothing for at least 3 days. This alone kills a huge share of impulse buys, because the emotional high of "I'm rich now" fades fast, and most bad windfall decisions are made in the first 48 hours.
What happens after the freeze?
Step 2, split it into 3 buckets before spending $1 on anything discretionary. Bucket 1, locked away, untouchable. Bucket 2, planned, intentional spending. Bucket 3, a small, guilt-free amount for enjoyment, because plans with zero enjoyment fail.
Give me actual percentages, not vague buckets.
A workable split for a true windfall, inheritance, business sale, a settlement, whatever the source. 50% locked away within the first week. 35% earmarked for specific planned purchases like a home down payment or debt payoff, and 15% that's genuinely theirs to enjoy with zero guilt.
What does locked away actually mean in practice? Because a bank account doesn't count. We already showed that.
Correct. A regular savings account is not locked. It's just slow spending money. Locked means a retirement account, maxing out an IRA or 401k contribution room for the year, or a brokerage account invested in a broad index fund, where the psychological step of logging in, selling, and transferring creates enough friction to stop impulse withdrawals. So the friction is the point. The friction is the entire point. You're not relying on willpower in the moment. You're relying on a past version of yourself who set up a system that makes the wrong decision annoying to execute.
What goes in the planned spending bucket? How do you keep that 35% from turning into the same lifestyle creep we described earlier?
Write the specific line items down before spending starts, with a cap next to each one. House down payment, this much, not $1 more. Debt payoff, this much. The moment a category doesn't have a written cap, it becomes the one that quietly absorbs 20% more than planned. That's exactly what happened in the breakdown earlier. Nothing had a ceiling.
And the 15% guilt-free bucket? Why include that at all if the goal is protecting the money?
Because plans with zero enjoyment fail. If someone locks away 90% and spends nothing on themselves, they eventually break the plan entirely out of resentment, and when they break it big, often draining the locked bucket too. A defined guilt-free 15% actually protects the other 85% because there's no unmet urge driving a bigger, unplanned withdrawal later.
This all makes sense for someone getting a lump sum today. What about someone watching this who doesn't have a lump sum right now? Is there anything here for them? Absolutely. This framework applies to any unexpected money, not just life-changing amounts. A bonus, a tax refund, a gift, even freelance income that comes in bursts instead of a steady paycheck. The same 50-35-15 instinct. Pause first, lock a portion away before it touches your spending account, cap the rest, prevents the exact same leak at a smaller scale, and it builds the habit before you ever need it at scale. Let's actually show what that locked 50% turns into over time, because I think that's the part that makes this framework worth the discomfort of not spending it all now. Take $500,000 locked into something earning a reasonable long-term real return. Historically, what a diversified investment approach has returned after accounting for inflation, roughly 7 to 8% compounded annually. Left alone for 15 years, that $500,000 becomes somewhere around $1.4 to $1.5 million in today's purchasing power. So the locked half alone, left untouched, becomes bigger than the entire original $1 million was. That's the part people never picture in the moment. Meanwhile, the version we described first, where the whole amount gets spent within 2 to 3 years, leaves you at zero, plus whatever the depreciating car and the renovated kitchen are worth by then, which realistically is a small fraction of the original amount. That's the entire cost of skipping the sequencing step. It's not just the money is gone, it's the gap between zero and what that locked half could have become. Let's cover the mistakes people make even when they think they're being careful, because a few of these are sneaky. Mistake 1. Treating paying off debt as automatically the right first move without checking the interest rate. Paying off a low-interest loan early when that cash could compound at a higher rate elsewhere isn't actually optimal. It feels responsible, but it's an emotional decision, dressed up as a financial one. Mistake 2? Mistake 2. Lending money to family or friends from the windfall without writing anything down, or without deciding in advance whether it's a gift or a loan. This single habit has quietly drained more windfalls than almost anything else, precisely because saying no in the moment feels harder than saying yes and dealing with it later. Mistake 3? Mistake 3. Underestimating recurring costs attached to one-time purchases. A bigger house doesn't just cost the down payment. Property tax, maintenance, and utilities recur every single month for as long as you own it. People budget the purchase price and completely forget they've just created a permanent new monthly expense. Mistake 4? Mistake 4. Investing the locked bucket into something a friend or relative is personally involved in, a family member's business, a cousin's real estate scheme, because it feels safe since it's in the family. It's usually the opposite. It combines investment risk with relationship risk, and if it fails, you lose the money and the relationship at the same time. And the last one? Mistake 5. No timeline attached to the plan. I'll invest it eventually is not a plan, it's a delay. Money sitting in a regular account, waiting for the right investment, is functionally the same as money that's been spent. It's just spent more slowly, on nothing. Let's bring this all the way back to the start. $1 million lands in an account. What are the first 3 things someone watching this should actually do in order? 1. Nothing for 72 hours. No purchases, no quick decisions to lock things in, nothing. 2. Split it on paper into the locked, planned, and guilt-free buckets, with specific percentages and specific line items before a single dollar moves anywhere. 3.
Physically move the locked portion into something with friction, a retirement account, an index fund, so it's out of easy reach before the 2-year lifestyle creep window even has a chance to start.
And if someone's watching this after already spending part of a windfall, is it too late?
Never too late. Apply the exact same 3 steps to whatever's left today. The math doesn't care whether you start with the full amount or a remainder. Locking away 50% of what's left right now still compounds the same way going forward.
So to close this out, $1 million sounds like life-changing money, and it can be, but the trap is real, the timeline is predictable, and the fix is simple, even if it isn't easy. The size of the windfall was never the variable that mattered. The only variable that ever mattered is whether a decision gets made in the first week or whether 100 small decisions get to make it for you over the next 2 years.
If this changed how you'd handle a windfall, that's the whole point of this channel. Small shifts in how you think about money, not complicated strategies nobody actually follows.
See you in the next one.